budget statement and economic policy of President John Dramani Mahama. Mr. Speaker, let me start by commending highly the Finance Minister for presenting what, by every account, is an inspiring budget that sets us on the path to rapid economic recovery and socio-economic development. Mr. Speaker, before I delve into specifics in the budget, there is a need to correct some misimpressions that were created in the course of the contributions by our friends on the other side. Mr. Speaker, they have sought to contest the absolutely indubitable fact that the economy that they superintended was in shambles. Mr. Speaker, that the economy we inherited from them was in shambles is a matter of public record. It is not debatable. As has often been said, Mr. Speaker, economic analysis is carried out on the basis of specific indices. There are metrics. There are things you use to measure economic performance, which are not subject to interpretation or opinion. Mr. Speaker, the economy they handed over to us was one that was in the throes of deep economic default. For the first time in the history of Ghana, a government defaulted on our debts. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in the history of Ghana, our credit ratings was a local balance, we'll call it Bola, in Ura. That was the state of our ratings. Mr. Speaker, the currency, the Ghana cedi, suffered a catastrophic collapse under the watch of our colleagues on the other side. By the time they left office, you could buy the dollar for 17 cedis in some forest bureaus in Ghana. This is not a disputable fact. Mr. Speaker, inflation at a point reached 54%, hyperinflation. You went to the market in the morning to buy an item at one price, only to return in the afternoon to find that the price had gone up. By the time they left, it was at 23%, which was exceptionally high for an economy like ours. Mr. Speaker, when they went into the IMF program, albeit in an ambulance, they committed to leaving a primary surplus of 0.5% at the end of the 2024 financial year. Mr. Speaker, we came into government and discovered that far from leaving a surplus of 0.5%, they had in fact done a primary balance of negative 3.5%. Mr. Speaker, the budget deficit was hovering around 5.7%. So there is absolutely no doubt that the economy that we inherited was in shambles and that it had been mismanaged. Our public debt had reached levels that made it impossible for them to repay. Mr. Speaker, they gave 1.3 million Ghanaian bondholders excruciating haircuts that plunged them into severe economic hardships. This is not in dispute. So it is settled beyond debate that the economy was in shambles under them. Mr. Speaker, the next issue that is not up for debate is that there has been a remarkable turnaround in the fortunes of the Ghanaian economy. The same indices that I recited, Mr. Speaker, when you look at them under us, you see remarkable recovery. Mr. Speaker, contrary to the junk status of our credit ratings, today we have come back to B-. Mr. Speaker, today, the Ghana cedi on the interbank market sells at 10.9 Ghana cedis. That's what the Bank of Ghana has reported. Even on the Forest Bureau, or at the Forest Bureau, it hovers between 11 to 11.5 cedis. Under them, it was 17 cedis. Mr. Speaker, inflation is at 8%, and the minister has given indication that they expect it to reach 6.5% by the end of this year. Balance. And the reason why I stress the primary balance is that they made it the main anchor of the IMF program. In other words, it was the most important indicator for them. They chose it. Mr. Speaker, from the negative 3.5% primary balance, the Minister of Finance set a target of a surplus of 1.5%. Mr. Speaker, he went 0.1 better and achieved 1.6% by the third quarter of this year, which has never happened in recent memory. Mr. Speaker, today, Ghanaians are seeing relief from the economic management of the John Dramani Mahama administration. Because we have been able to control the cedi, or I beg your pardon, the exchange rates. For 10 consecutive times, the price of fuel has dropped. Mr. Speaker, there is record before the Economic Committee of this House that up to 4,500 different items saw price reductions because of the appreciation of the Ghana cedi. And this is relief brought to the pockets of the people of Ghana. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, the transport companies will tell you that since government began to engage them about a decade ago in the fixing of transport prices twice a year, it is under this government that the single biggest reduction in transport fares has occurred of 15%. Yeah. And that is because fuel prices, which is a key determinant of transport fares, has reduced substantially. That is also not in debate. Mr. Speaker, even as I go on to correct some misimpressions, my respected friend, Dr. Gideon Buako, sought to assail the fiscal consolidation measures of the finance minister. He decried the effort of the finance minister to hold the line and ensure that the same fiscal indiscipline which led us to the crisis that the superintendent does not recur. He accuses the minister of excessive fiscal consolidation. Mr. Speaker, all that the minister has done is that he has adjusted his expenditure patterns to meet unexpected shortfalls in revenue. It is common knowledge, Mr. Speaker, that if for some reason your revenue sources suffer a hit, you adjust your expenditure. It is because they were unable to do that for 3 consecutive years under them, we recorded double-digit deficits. Spend more. But this finance minister says no. We must turn away from that kind of reckless expenditure. So if you check page 18 of the budget, at paragraph 112, the minister makes the point that revenue underperformed by about 4.7%. That meant that the projections he had made had come short. And therefore, there was a need to change strategy to ensure that we do not overspend. So he also adjusted expenditure and cut goods and services, which is discretionary, whilst ensuring that important disbursements to statutory funds are met. Mr. Speaker, I, by virtue of being MP for Abra Sebu Kamankese, as is the case for all my colleagues, am an ex-official member of the Abra Sebu Kamankese District Assembly. So I know that this government has done a yeoman's job in terms of spending in the right places. Mr. Speaker, the whole of last year, the AAK District Assembly received only 298,000 Ghana cedis in common funds. 298,000 Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, by the middle of this year, the same assembly had received 6.5 million Ghana cedis in common fund disbursements. Because of that, as I speak to you, the AAK District Assembly has almost completed 8 different projects, which they could not do the whole of last year. So it is not true that this finance minister is not spending. He is spending in the right places. Mr. Speaker, for the first time, the National Health Insurance Scheme reports that they have a healthy balance in their accounts, unlike the past, when a minuscule of what was due them was reimbursed by governments. Mr. Speaker, today, we do not hear noises about free senior high school. because this finance minister is remitting adequate resources to them through Get Fund. Mr. Speaker, between the beginning of this year and now, about 1.3 billion Ghana cedis has been paid to senior high schools to feed Ghanaian school children. It is the reason why the noises that used to emerge over the poor quality of food or unavailability of food has subsided. The fiscal consolidation as a way to prevent the fiscal slippages that we have suffered from in the past. But he is spending in the right places. Mr. Speaker, there was also an attempt to distort what has been done under the book push agenda. It is true that the minister budgeted 13.9 billion Ghana cedis in the 2025 budget, which is roughly equivalent at the time to about $1 billion. Mr. Speaker, since then, 33 different projects have either gone far in terms of their execution, and these projects include some of the big road projects that they did not have specific dedicated funds for when they were in government, and therefore left in the lurch. As I speak to you, those projects have begun and they are ongoing. There are many more that are ongoing, but the minister has said that unlike in their time, when they used to pay mobilization to contractors before they went on site, some of whom actually squandered the money, he was not going to give anybody mobilization. As I speak to you, the minister has in excess of $900 million in his account. And he has said that any contractor who presents a certificate will be paid in 30 days, 1 month. The Deputy Minister for Roads is right here behind me, and he can corroborate what I'm saying. So it is not true that the minister is not spending under big bush. The minister is ensuring that there is value for money, and that people who actually do work are the ones that we are going to pay. Mr. Speaker, they also keep on claiming that the Bank of Ghana has printed money to finance the activities of Gold Board. Mr. Speaker, for the avoidance of doubt, the Bank of Ghana has not printed a dime to give to Gold Board. What the Bank of Ghana has been, and indeed, Mr. Speaker, our friends on the other side must make up their minds on exactly what they think this government has done or not done. In one breath, they claim that the city is stable or the city has appreciated because of some gold accumulation policy that they implemented. Mr. Speaker, they forget that by the time they left office, they had accumulated close to 30 tons of gold, and yet our currency suffered its most catastrophic depreciation in recent memory. What the Bank of Ghana has done is that they take money from commercial banks who are interested in forex, give it to Gold Board to purchase gold, export it, and remit the funds thereof in hard currency, which the Bank of Ghana gives back to the very people they took money from. That is what my colleague, the Honorable Adongo, referred to as intermediation. That is what has happened. But Mr. Speaker, even as they criticize and falsely accuse the Bank of Ghana of intervening in the market, the records show that in 2024 alone, by the end of October, they had pumped $3.15 billion onto the forex market in a bid to save the Ghana cedi. And yet, the Ghana cedi suffered its most catastrophic decline under them. Onto the forex market is what causes the currency to achieve stability. They would have achieved it. We have innovated and introduced a measure that is ensuring that there is liquidity on the forex market so that when they need it for transactions, they get something to do. That is what they are failing to recognize and are peddling all manner of misleading claims against this government. But Mr. Speaker, let me make the point that if you put all the macroeconomic indices aside, the economic management of this government is touching real lives. Mr. Speaker, they were the ones who used to argue that parents could not pay between 800 Ghana cedis